right, we should be live right now. Double check and make sure that we got volume. Let me throw this chat up. Hopefully you guys can hear me right now. Good. Swish says, give me a thumbs up. We are live. Got volume, says Wes. Beautiful. All right, let me just set this up real quick. Got a couple videos we're going to be playing. Lots to talk about. I'll say, wait for a couple more people to come in. If you just came in, make sure you let me know you're in the chat so I can give you a shout out. Looks like we're good here. Volume looks good. All right. Let me get chat overlay going. Wes says, roll tide. Got Bama fam in the house? Anja, good evening. How you doing tonight? All right. We got 30 in the chat. KD Sweaty, what's going on? Give a shout out to Scott. Absolutely. Soul Seeker, how you doing tonight? Who else we got in the chat? Dufresne, what's going on, my friend? Mike is in the chat. Doc Zeno. Doc says, Gensler is receiving jars of mail from Kenny G. With the note saying, can't wait to make a sandwich with you again, darling. Damrick, what's going on, man? How you doing tonight? Michael 1. Broke 8. Lucy, what's up, darling? How you doing tonight? Good to see you. Shin Kyoko. Wes, what's going on, man? Swisha. Badonk's in the house. Anju, Katie Sweaty said, what's up to Scott? Soul Seeker, Domrick, and Smith. What's going on, buddy? How you doing tonight? All right, we got full house right now. Full house. All right, first things first. Let's I guess we'll get into the Citadel thing, and then I got a bunch of other video topics to talk about. I think I downloaded 4 videos for this live stream. So we'll kind of jump around on topics. We'll talk about Citadel and the market, and then I have some stuff on the border, some stuff on the strike, some stuff on Congress. I'll kind of be all over the place, but I got videos to go with it. So grab some popcorn, AMC, preferably if you have it. Phil, what's going on, brother? Good to see you tonight. All right, so let's start off with the obvious issue we have with Ken Griffin and the SEC and what they said about it. First, let's just take a walk down memory lane. Just remember where we're coming from as retail investors.
That's not what the public thinks. The public thinks that there was collusion, that the big guys, all of you guys, were figuring out how to do this and ultimately come out ahead, as you always do. But did you talk to them about restricting or doing anything to prevent people from buying, not selling, but buying in GameStop?
Let me be
anybody in your organization.
Let me be perfectly clear. Absolutely not.
So if we depose everyone in your organization, we will find that.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So the claim was, according to the SEC, and we can pull this up. Let me go into my bookmarks here. Why can't I find the damn... Let me just go to the SEC's page here on Twitter. Should be like right at the top, right? All right. So let's pull this up on the screen. Hopefully you guys can see Twitter. Should be up. I'm going to make it big. Actually, I guess that doesn't matter, huh? Just changes me. All right. So here is the SEC.gov release. This is from yesterday. SEC today announced settled charges against broker-dealer Citadel'S Securities, LLC, for violating a provision of Reg Show, the regulatory framework designed to address abusive short-selling practices, which requires broker-dealers to mark sale orders as long, short, or exempt. These records are routinely used by regulators in policing prohibited short-selling activity. To settle the SEC's charges, Miami-based Citadel'S Securities agreed to pay a $7 million penalty. According to the SEC's order, for a 5-year period, it is estimated that Citadel'S Securities incorrectly marked millions of orders inaccurately, denoting that certain short sales were long sales and vice versa. The SEC's order finds that the inaccurate marks resulted from a coding error in Citadel'S Securities' automated trading system, that the firm provided the inaccurate data to regulators, including the SEC, during this period. The order charges without violation of Rule 200 of Reg Show, without admitting or denying the findings. Citadel'S Securities consented to a cease and desist order, imposing a censure, a $7 million penalty, and a set of undertakings, including a written certification that the coding error has been remediated in a review of the firm's computer programming and coding logic involved in processing relevant transactions. So that's what we're dealing with today. Doc says, fact. Anything Kenny G says is suspect. Fact 2. Anything Gensler says is suspect. The end. Right? Right. If you guys remember to hit the like button when you come in, that would be awesome. Definitely help out with the algorithm trying to get this pumped up. Freekekistan, how you doing tonight? Casey, what's going on? Casey says, look at the way he was looking sus. Freekekistan says, this situation is just so gross. Corruption everywhere. I want you guys to remember this date. What is it today? Today is September 23rd, 2023. I can almost guarantee you at some point in the near future, or maybe it will take a little while, we will have a filing like this from the SEC in accordance to what happened with GME and AMC over the last 2.5 years. At some point, this will happen. When all the damage has been done, when all the money is gone, when everything's dried up, and they are looking for, actually looking to raise money or, collect fines or do whatever they're doing, you got to think that the timing is a little suspect, right? D, how you doing tonight? Good to see you in the chat. One Speed Go says, and Ken says the SEC is implementing too many new rules. Yeah, I saw that. Coding error BS. Yeah, I don't believe that your system allows you to make billions of dollars a year. It's so good that you managed to pull off those kind of receipts. But when it came to a technical matter that who knows how much they made off of those millions of trades that they marked incorrectly. Who knows? This is a drop in the bucket. $7 million is a drop in the bucket. And mark my words, there will be a day one day. There will be a day. It will come that we'll see something about, that this was done. I would probably say there would probably be multiple fines in the future. Looking back on things that have transpired over the last 2.5 years, if they were doing doing this back then? Was this? Did they have a time period? They said 5 years, but they didn't say which 5 years, right? The timing's a little sus to me, I'm not gonna lie. You have, the movie coming out, and all of a sudden, Ken Griffin's coming out of the closet to speak. All of a sudden, he's got something to say. I don't and then they drop the penalty of $7 million for something that is directly inferred to in the movie. Go figure, right? We've been talking about this for 2.5 years, saying that this was being done. I can remember back in May of 2021, and say what you want about Wes Christian, but he was on Dave Lauer's podcast talking about how they were doing this, that they've been doing this for a long time, marking long orders short and vice versa. And yeah, as Candace says, it's a slap on the wrist as usual, right? How much profit did they make in order to incur a $7 million fee? And again, it's just the cost of doing business for these guys. That's all it is. It is the cost of doing business. And I think we would have to be completely naive to not believe that they're still doing this right now. But Donk says it was doing exactly what they wanted it to do. Did anyone from Citadel lose their job over this? No, exactly, right? Did we see Ken Griffin come in and say we're cleaning house? We have people who are stealing money or trying to turn a profit here by using loopholes. No, of course not. Of course not. One Speed Go says 16 billion in profit. I mean, you gotta figure they're at least 20 or 30 or 40 times in whatever the penalties are. And again, this will come. We'll hear something from them after everything is all said and done, after all the damage has already been incurred, right? That's what's going to end up happening. And there'll be some huge fine. It'll be the biggest fine in SEC history. But when's that going to happen? 2024, 2025, 2026? When are they going to finally get around to what's going on right now? If it took them 5 years to put this case together. Again, this is just refortifying and reinforcing everything we've been talking about for the last 2.5 years, that this stuff has been going on. And, we got called all kind of conspiracy theorists, and, this isn't happening on a large scale. If it does happen, it's smaller profits that are being taken, pennies on the dollar. No, clearly not. Cancel Bubble, what's going on, man? One Speed Go. See you in the chat tonight. How's it going? Casey says the government is worthless and needs to be dismantled. Honestly, Casey, at this point right now, what would it hurt in shutting down the government? They can't control the border. They can't regulate the SEC. They can't dress properly when they're they can't even come to work in a suit and tie. I don't see the bad thing with shutting down the government right now. McCarthy has come through on zero of the things he promised when he became Speaker of the House. None of the things that he said he was going to do has he done. Still, to this day. At this point, how could it hurt to shut it down? King Louis says that's $16 billion in a year, 5 years. That's $16 billion in a year, 5 years worth of profit. 7 million sounds about right. Demainer says we can't teach kids in schools. Yeah, exactly. We're prosecuting parents. The FBI is out there running around trying to lock up grandmothers and parents at school board meetings, and if they went to an ATM machine in DC on January 6th, they're useless. What is the point of funding them anymore? It's like this big threat looming over us. No one's doing their fucking jobs. They should shut it down. You guys have racked up $33 trillion in debt, 5 of which over the last 2 years. Any other company, they would have wiped out the entire staff and started from scratch. If anyone had close to those kind of losings. $33 billion. And they want more tax money. It's crazy. Cancel Bubble says at least at least they can afford some coffee now, right? Maybe they won't be asking for coffee donations anymore. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. But Dog says the SEC was set up to give the illusion of some governance over Wall Street. Right. I saw someone put a meme up earlier that was spot on, man. Let me see if I can pull it up. It wasn't that long ago, so I should be able to rip it right up. Yeah, here it is. I thought this was perfect, right? Here's the meme. What's the difference? The big difference between Ken Griffin and Bernie? Bernie went to jail because he stole from the 1%, right? Ken Griffin, Citadel, some of these other companies, these hedge funds, are stealing from the 99% and continually allowed to get away with it on a grand scale. But ain't that meme the truth? They went after Bernie because he took money from rich people. They went after Sam Bankman-Fried because he fucked over rich people. But yeah, Badonk, that's exactly right, man. It really is. It's just it's not there to actually do anything, right? It's just to make the appearance that we have a body that has a 5-person panel who are underfunded and lots of times cannot fight the big fights in the court system with the amount of money they have to spend on lawyers, right? I mean, these guys can outspend at a 10-to-1 ratio. Maynard says the National Guard is facilitating illegal immigration. It seems like some people in at Border Patrol might be breaking ranks. I don't know. I did see this clip. I said something about it, like we need like 100 more of these videos. But I did see this the other day, which was it was good to see someone actually saying something. All right, hang on. I'll throw it up.
Stay focused. We continue to do the job and the mission that we signed up for. Right? We all signed up for it. We all raised our hand.
Oh. This clip's 2 years old? Really? That's a 2-year-old clip? Well, even more though. Even the more that should be up. We should be watching it. But I'll have to correct my statement because if that was from 2 years ago, yeah, I mean this should be. Now that makes sense that it was 2 years ago. Maynard says read comments. Yeah, I didn't have time before I came on, man. I didn't have time to read all the comments on it. I try to do that. I try to make sure most of the videos I play, either I know where they came from or when, but you can't catch them all. I'll continue to play it just so if you guys haven't seen it.
It's not hard to say it. It may be hard for you to say it, but I've been doing it. Stay focused. We continue to do the job and the mission that we signed up for. Right? We all signed up for it. We all raised our hand.
To defend the Constitution, not the
It's not hard to say it. It may be hard for you to say it, but I've been doing this for 31 years. It's not hard for me to say it. Every day I wake up and I'm committed to this organization and I'm committed to each one of y'all.
You said the same thing, but it seems like a
Nothing.
You're getting bogged down in the policies and the politics. You can't even say illegal alien. What's that?
You can't even say that.
That's why Chief Scott left. You just said it. You can't. Is anything going to happen to you? You just said it. The whole generation. Why are you guys getting caught up in semantics? Right? There's a mission out there to be. There's a mission out there to be here, guys. We can sit here and argue about it till we're blue in the face. Right? I've been doing this job as long as y'all.
That's the problem.
What's that?
That's the problem, Chief. For evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. That's
I can't hear you.
For evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. That's exactly what's happening here. Good men are doing nothing. You're allowing illegal aliens to be dropped off in communities.
You are doing something.
No, sir, we're not.
You are.
No,
You're rescuing people every day. You're taking fentanyl off the streets every day. You're taking methamphetamine
Yes, and under this
criminal
administration,
aliens
for the
off the
last
streets
year, we
every
got the
day.
highest fentanyl death in the history of our country. In 1 year, in this country.
You know, we've made more fentanyl seizures already this year than we made last year.
How many have we not catch because we're focusing on expanding?
I don't know.
And that's the problem.
And we're working on it.
Well, where's the results? We don't have results.
There you go. MC, what's going on, brother? Good to see you, my man. Yeah, so if that's a 2-year-old clip, then even more shame. I mean, it is. It's just like the SEC, right? You got people who have been in these jobs for too long, like that guy said, and they are caught up in the system. They take their orders like a good boy instead of enforcing the Constitution. And it's, yeah, man. I mean, they should have Alejandro Mayorkas' ass right now. I can't believe it just blows my mind that he's even still allowed to represent the Border Patrol and Homeland Security. I mean, how can you possibly say you're doing your job right now? Look at what's going on. There's no hiding this anymore. It's in every city, every major city across the U.S. There is a problem, and it's seeping into every community. There's no avoiding it anymore. The question is going to be, how do we facilitate these people to adapting into our culture and workforce and all those other things? I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you do that. We just broke 300,000 immigrants in the last 30 days. It's a world record. I'm doing a video on it right now. World record, 300,000 this month. Phil says, they're so incompetent, they would mess up on the shutdown. I know. You're right, bro. They would probably mess up on the shutdown. You're right. Richard, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Maynard says Maine is a border state now. Yeah. I saw people coming in through Vermont, New Hampshire. They arrested illegal immigrants who were coyotes, bringing people over the border from Canada into the U.S. It's not even just a southern border problem right now. We got to come on both sides. In 7.3 million people over the last 2.5 years. That's a lot of people. How does a welfare or a social service possibly keep up with that kind of demand? What kind of pressure does that put on the education system? Does it put on the health system? Dong says that's a tough job. We need a huge military force down there ASAP. It is a tough job, man. And the Border Patrol agents, I'm sure they have it rough down there. And then they got no leadership and no one sticking their neck out for them. They hauled off those other Border Patrol agents who were on the horseback, and they got rid of the whole equestrian program in the border. I mean, it's just nuts that we're even talking about this right now. But again, when we're talking about everything coming up, especially with the market and AMC and holding positions for, or doing YOLO. I saw someone made a video the other day about YOLO call options on AMC. Just understand, we're going to see something like we saw in 2020 for 2024. Like we have to. And you also have a good bet that next year is going to be a massive recession. Now, that might bode well for the movie theaters, and all of us can still get paid. Speaking of which, let's pull up the latest on the actor strike, because this was this just came out a little while ago. And then I want to talk about their agenda. Guys should be able to see article coming up. All right. So this is from Variety. This was from earlier today. I'll blow this up a little bit so you guys can see. Okay. WGA negotiations to home stretch has gathered and hammer out language. This is today. Legal representatives for labor and management were said to be huddling on the fine print of language in complicated contract issues, such as the use of generative artificial intelligence and groundbreaking elements for the WGA's minimum basic agreement, such as a formula for a minimum staff guarantee for episodic TV and a success-based residual from subscription platform that is designed to funnel more money into the WGA pension and health funds. The nitty-gritty details of the terms around the AI proposal has been one of the final hurdles to overcome, according to multiple sources. The negotiations were jump-started this week by the presence of 4 top executives, Disney's Bob Iger brothers, and Discovery's David Zaslav, and Netflix's Ted Sarandos. And these 4 took part in a 3-day marathon negotiations that broke the month-long impasse between the WGA and Alliance of Motion Picture and Technology, the bargaining unit for the major studios and streamers. Reps from the AMPTP and WGA did not respond to a request for comment on Saturday. It says once the GA deal is wrapped, SAG-AFTRA is waiting in the wings to return to talks and end the first industry-wide strike by the Performance Guild in more than 40 years. SAG-AFTRA's work stopped began on July 14th. So that is the latest update. I don't know if anything's coming in the last hour or so. I pulled that article down from like 2 hours ago from Variety. They should have the quickest update on that, I would think. So that's a little comforting. Just to see that the talks are hopefully drawing to an end very soon. That's good. I like to see that. Casey says, how do you do that? Admiral Jeff, what's going on, brother? How you doing? Casey says, how do you do that when they don't want to assimilate? They want to be free. They are more free than us, to be fair. Yeah, man, I saw some of the benefits that are going around. I know we're kind of flipping between the border and the theaters. And you know, as the comments come in, we'll kind of jump around a little bit, but you know, I want to kind of stick to one topic. That's my problem. I probably went into it too quick. But yeah, this is a tough one, man. They're getting all kinds of advantages right now that regular, everyday, poor Americans can't get their hands on. How do you possibly assimilate that? I don't know how they're going to do this. But yeah, Badonk says lots of cheap labor. That's absolutely part of it, right? But don't they keep telling us that we need to cool the jobs market off or they can't bring rates down? So now we just flush the system with 3 or 4 million viable workers for jobs that supposedly we need to cut. How is that working? Andrew, what's going on, brother? Andrew says a tentative agreement between the WGA and AMPTP is expected to be done by the end of the day. All right. That sounds good. I'm ready for that. Look, we had what, 4 months? We had a 4-month strike from the writers, and the actors went on July 14th. So what, just over 2 months? Yeah. It's going to push some stuff back, but if they get it inked up by the end of the day today, that would definitely make me feel a lot better about the entire theater industry going forward, but especially for our stock, right? Your wife's boyfriend says they're under the table employees. It's true. Phil says we're the new minority mass. In like, okay, so whatever. That's fine. I don't care about. I don't even really give a shit about that. What are we doing with these people, though? Is my problem, right? Yeah, I don't necessarily need. Well, it would be nice if everyone spoke the same language in this country and we wrapped our heads around the same ideas, so we would be more united when it came to things. But like, obviously, there's going to be massive diversity in this country. That's what we are, right? We're a melting pot. I'm not from here originally. My parents aren't here from here originally. Most 95% of us here are immigrants, right? Or come from an immigrant family. We're not Native Americans per se and been here for the last 3 or 4 or 5 generations. But we are losing our, what do we rally behind if we don't all have the same core values? How does that work as a country? Like, it's hard enough as it is, the way they've split us between the two political parties, right? And that you get kind of forced into one of these two groups. But then on top of that, like, you got 7 million people, 8 million people that just came in who have completely different, maybe morals and ethics and language and food and everything, right? Scavenger, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you, man. I saw your video earlier, popped up on my queue. I'm glad you're still hanging with the Scav. We're getting few and far between of the holders. But hey, look, this is good news. Seeing that they're going to sit down and hopefully ink a deal tonight, that's big. That's big. We really need to get back to production. Speaking of which, I'm just going to pull this up real quick. Someone was asking me the other day about Bob Iger and what do I think about him changing things at Disney, because he just came out and made another statement as far as what he wants to focus on. Let me see if I can get this up. Hang on. Disney. Here we go. Yeah, this is it. All right, hopefully you guys can see this. Should be an article from Fox News. Yeah, I believe this is it. So this is from Fox Business. It says Disney CEO Bob Iger tells employees he wants quiet down culture wars, respect the audience. Iger said it's very important to listen to an audience and not have disdain for your viewers. What a philosopher. Boy, is this guy smart. Newly reinstated Disney CEO Bob Iger said he wants to lead an effort to quiet things down when it comes to recent cultural and political controversies that have engulfed the company. Now, where'd my live stream just go? Now, hopefully you guys heard all that. And I think that's great that Bob Iger is going to do that, right? My only issue, and I said this last year when I'm excited about him coming back. So this is from this week. Disney CEO Bob Iger says company will quiet the noise in conservative culture war. According to an investor note from the recent Walt Disney World, Disney CEO Bob Iger reportedly said Disney will quiet the noise. Sound familiar? In the ongoing culture war that it finds itself in with conservatives. This recent statement echoes a November 2022 employee town hall when he first returned as CEO, when he said that, to the extent that I can work to quiet things down, I'm going to do that. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if you've seen Disney's numbers recently, so in an entire year, his storyline has remained the same, but nothing's changed. I think it happened in the last 15 months is Disney lost over $1 billion in our last 12 projects. So are we going to get away from the culture war or aren't we? I just don't trust that guy. I just don't. I said it when he came back. He was the one who came in and put Chapek. He was the one who got the ball rolling with this whole agenda that they have, the DEI bullshit that they're putting in the movies, that they're exposing the kids to. Just unnecessary nonsense that has nothing to do with storytelling or character growth or any of that. He said it for a year, and in the meantime, he lost $1 billion. So, do I have faith in Walt Disney? Not right now. No, I don't think anything's going to change anytime soon. They have an agenda. If you just look at what happened with Rachel Zegler and Snow White, I mean, they got absolutely roasted and destroyed and ratioed for those photos from the Rachel Zegler set of the 7, Starbucks baristas, whatever they were calling them. And then, doing Snow White and her saying that, it's a girl world and she doesn't, man to help her. And they're going to tell a story for, the 21st century. Again, and Disney is plodding right along, and they're apparently not getting the message. I guess we have to continue to kick them in the mouth until they figure it out. The problem with that is I own shares of a company that has a direct impact on, what Disney does has a direct impact on my bottom line. Dominic says, go woke, go broke. If they go any more woke, Dominic, we're all going to go broke because the theaters are going to be out of business because Disney is like, I don't know, they have a massive market share of the theater takedown, right? Christian Princess, what's going on? How you doing tonight, hon? She says, can't trust anybody. Nope. Maynard says, I hope so. The girl who played Snow White is crazy. And, this was Iger's plan when he came in. He got this ball rolling. He personally was putting Chapek to be his successor. He's down with this. This is part of the new. This is the new stakeholder where they're making everyone share the burden of DEI and ESG, which is one of the reasons why when this is over in the next year or so, if I even wait that long, I might completely exit the market for a while. If we're heading to a downturn and a recession, maybe I'll just pull all my money and keep cash on the side and have it ready for something else. Your wife's boyfriend says Disney needs to learn a lesson like Bud Light did. See, Bud Light, I think, was a lot easier. Well, I don't see why Disney would be any different, right? You just don't go to the movies. You don't go to the park. They're not having that problem right now. Their attendance is way down. And obviously, we've seen the box office receipts, right? They're taking billion-dollar franchises and turning them into $100 million movies. Mania says Cloward pivot strategy. Have you guys ever heard of that? Mania, should I emphasize on what that is? Because that really is what we're seeing, Mania, right? As far as the impact it's going to have on social services and the welfare system and education, it is the Cloward pivot strategy, 100%. I'm just going to show you guys what it is real quick. I'm just going to pull it up on Wikipedia. If it hasn't been bamboozled and the definition changed. Let me see. Yeah, here it is. All right, let me pull up and share it with you guys in case you don't know what it is. Maynard says yes, definitely. All right, here we go. All right, hopefully you guys can see it up on the screen. There we go. Take this down for 1 sec. I'll blow this up for you guys a little bit. Okay. The Cloward-Piven strategy is a political strategy outlined in 1966 by American sociologists and political activists Richard Cloward and Francis Fox Piven. Cloward and Piven were both professors at Columbia. The strategy was outlined in May 66 article in the Liberal magazine entitled The Nation. And the name of the article was The Weight of the Poor, a Strategy to End Poverty. Cloward and Piven's article is focused on forcing the Democratic Party, which in 1966 controlled the presidency and both houses of U.S. Congress, to take action for the poor. They stated that full enrollment of those eligible for welfare would produce bureaucratic disruption and welfare agency fiscal disruption in local and state governments that would deepen existing divisions in the big city Democratic coalition, the remaining white middle class, the working class ethnic groups, and the growing minority poor. To avoid a further weakening of that historic coalition, a national Democratic administration would be constrained to advance a federal solution to poverty that would override local welfare failures, local class and racial conflicts, and local revenue dilemmas. They further wrote, the ultimate objective of the strategy to wipe out poverty by establishing a guaranteed annual income will be questioned by some. The ideal of individual social and economic mobility has deep roots. Even activists seem reluctant to call for national programs to eliminate poverty by the outright redistribution of income. Michael Rice and Janice Andrews wrote that Cloward and Piven proposed to create a crisis in the current welfare system by exploiting the gap between welfare law and that would ultimately bring about its collapse and replace it with a system of guaranteed annual income. They hope to accomplish this by informing the poor of their rights to welfare assistance, encouraging them to apply for benefits, and in effect, overloading an already overburdened bureaucracy. Great call by Domainer. Sometimes I forget about this whole thing, but if that ain't what we're seeing today, I don't know what else you call it. I don't know what else you call it. Seems like it's pretty close though, right? I mean, our resources are stretched thin as it is right now. Now you add 7.5 million people from 40 or 50 different countries, again, with different languages, different cultures, different backgrounds, all these things. And they're coming here with no money. If anything, they owe the coyotes and the cartels when they're coming in here, right? So they're already indebted. And now you're going to put that extra pressure on an already overloaded system, right? We already have record high inflation right now, record high number of people needing food stamp assistance and housing assistance. So what do? You flood the system with more people to present a federal solution, a way to stay in power. Great point, Domainer. Thanks for bringing that up. Tony D is in the house. Tony, what's going on, my brother? Says smush the like button. T, I sent you a text earlier, so check your phone. Ellie, how you doing tonight? Says, hey, Mass and everyone. Yes, most retail will leave the market soon, I believe. Yeah, babe, for sure. For sure. They're not going to stop what they're doing. You got to pick your spots like an assassin in the market and try to take profits when you can, here and there, when you're paying attention and when you can ultimately, pull the trigger on trades. So, you have the time to sit down, do your research, do your due diligence, look at charts. A lot of these stocks that are out there right now, the other tickers aren't AMC. They're not meme stocks, right? There is TA you can do. You can go back and look at historically how the chart plans out in, 50 days and 100 days. Nana Ape, how you doing tonight? Good to see you. Andrew says Universal is beating Disney to the punch as far as the theme parks. Disney doesn't have the money to expand. Now, Andrew, I just heard they're putting $10 billion into the park. I just heard that. Let me see if I can find that. I just read something that said they were putting $10 billion into parks over the next 10 years. Disney doesn't have the money to expand like they need to. Everything is blue sky, park tickets too high, and not enough bang for the buck. Andrew, for a lot of people who've already been to Disney, that's it, right? They've already taken their last trip probably. You're going to have a tough time, especially in a market right now where nobody's having babies. No one's having kids, right? I don't know how good of a Disney a model that is for Disney, because the only reason that they are staying viable right now is because you continue to have generation after generation come up behind their parents who were brought up on this stuff, and they feed it down, right, to the young. But right now, Gen Z and those guys are just completely out of control, right? They have no money. None of them have jobs. They have no self-awareness. They have no idea what it's like to struggle. If you're going to cater to that crowd, that generation, good luck. Have at it, Disney. I'll see you at $50 a share. Phil says even Buzz Lightyear's boss has a same-sex wife and kid. Again, in a billion-dollar franchise doing a tenth of what they should have done, right? That should have been a $500 million movie at least. And you didn't do a Pixar or Toy Story. That should have been a banger. And the fact that they couldn't barely cross 150 million total worldwide, disgraceful. English Jim says, Mass, to be honest, you think that these CEOs shouldn't be tripping up, bashing their head on a bullet, and flying out of an open window? Just saying, world would be a better place. The CEOs of the companies that we own, English Jim? I would rather they do that. I mean, most of them probably would be better off if they ate a bullet at this point. But Donk says, how would you like your bugs? Fried or baked? Emerald Jeff says, don't forget tuberculosis coming in. I just saw that, Jeff. I don't know where that was, but I saw an article. I also saw they shut down part of southern India because of some virus outbreak. Again, guys, these are all just worldwide news stories. I'm not saying this is going to come across the United States and sweep us up like COVID or anything like that. But, keep your eyes on what's going on. They definitely did shut down a bunch of southern India because of this virus. I don't know the meaning of them. The name of it, sorry. English Jim says, no, I mean Ken. Yeah, English Jim, I think he's going to continue to do what he's been doing, right? What they're good at. They hedge, right? That's what they do. They're a fund that hedges. It makes money for people. And as long as they're going to continue to get a slap on the wrist, I forget who said that earlier, I don't see why their situation wouldn't persist. Until you start throwing people in jail, nothing is going to mean anything. Look at the congressman, Menendez there. He's getting paid from the Egyptian government for gold bars. I mean, do you think that guy's going to go call out Gary Gensler? Give me a fucking break. Give me a fucking break. Come on. These people are up to it in their ears in corruption. They all have something on each other. And trying to bring charges or anything against anyone is just absolutely asinine. It ain't going to happen. Again, they went after Bernie because Bernie took from the 1%. Ken Griffin and Virtue and State Street and these guys, they're making money off of all of us, not the 1%. That's who they're making the money for. It's disgusting. Unless there's a complete overhaul, we are on our own out there. Like, you got to pick your spots in the market. Andrew says, but Buzz Lightyear didn't fail because of that. It failed because the movie was awful. Sorry. Elemental had same sex as well, and the movie ended up doing great. Yeah, they took out some of the main actors, right, that were with the franchise, Andrew, right? So, yeah, that absolutely. But I think definitely the other thing had something to do with it, because I that was like one of the main focuses I saw in everyone's articles of why it wasn't performing well, is that some conservatives had a problem with the storyline. But yeah, that they got rid of, some of the actors. What's his name there? Tim Allen. and that the story wasn't good. Yeah, it's a combination of everything, right? But we definitely can't say that Disney's been killing it in the last 9-10 releases because they've lost over $1 billion, right? So something's wrong. What's changed? You got to ask yourself, what is the big difference between Toy Story 3 and 4? What are the main things you can point to and say, oh, this I see? Because you can have shit storylines and the film still does $1 billion, right? The Last Jedi was a terrible fucking story, but it did 1.5 billion. Captain Marvel was a terrible story. It did $1 billion. But I'm with you, Andrew. Definitely the story needs some help. I agree. Probably have more to do with that than the same-sex thing. I could probably get on board with you with that. Nana Abe says, good job, Massalorian. Oh, man. Yeah, no more kids for you, Nana Abe. You're all done. Casey says, yeah, I'm never going to Disney again. What a waste of money. It's way overpriced. I see a lot of people saying that, Casey, on the Walt Disney YouTube pages, all the bloggers and the vloggers, like even they've kind of had it. And when the crazy Disney people, the ones who get married there with the hats on, when those people are rejecting you, you got a problem. Andrew says, Mass, have you been watching Ahsoka? It's so good. All right, man. So I almost broke down and started it last night because I saw, what did I see that I was like, oh shit, I want to see what's going on here. Oh, not Anakin coming back. What got me excited last episode? Shit, I can't even remember now what it was. Something got me wicked excited in the last episode. And I was going to go and watch it because I was like, oh, this is great. Remind me, Andrew. I mean, yeah, what happened in the last episode that was good besides that Thrawn came back? But Donk says Mario Brothers movie crushed it. Right. Mario Brothers movie crushed it. And they're building a brand new park, with the Mario World. Universal's where it's going to be at for the next 10 years, unfortunately for Disney. There's going to be a complete, I think, swap between the two. Look at the box office revenues and the theme parks. UWork says someone needs to develop an app that tracks all politicians' stock trading in real time. I want you to watch this little back and forth that happened the other day on Capitol Hill. This was between a Congresswoman and the Secretary of Energy, Jennifer Granholm. And just the arrogance of these people that are in the government right now is something to behold. Watch this.
Biden Energy Secretary Granholm admits false testimony about owning stocks. The next I want to just point out and put these for the record, Mr. Chair, just so people have them. These are ethics, 14 principles of ethical conduct for federal employees. That's right on the Energy website. Ethics, impartiality in performing official duties. Want to be sure that.
Objection.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So since taking office, I know my colleague, Mr. Iser, referred to some of these issues, but since taking office in January of 2021, Secretary Granholm has violated the Hatch Act multiple times. She's owned Proterra stock while her boss, President Biden, repeatedly promoted the company. We saw this huge payout. She admitted 3 months after she took office. Her husband owned Ford stock while she personally promoted the company's work with official resources, and she cashed in on millions of dollars after these illegal transactions, and failure to disclose obvious conflicts were revealed. As you said, it took you 3 months before you actually sold the stock. And most critically, she lied under oath to Congress, claiming she did not own any individual stocks when in fact she did. Anyone disputing these charges could consult to these articles that I put in the record. They're available for everyone. And I just want to go to, Madam Secretary, the DOE's ethical rules or federal employee ethics laws provide that, quote, public service is a public trust. Employees must place loyalty to the Constitution, the laws, and ethical principles above gain, as I cited in the ethical principles that are part of your own department. Do you believe that any Department of Energy or other federal employee violating this rule should resign or be removed from office for this position?
First of all, let me say that we take ethics.
That's a yes or no
very-
question. Do
we
you think
take
if
ethics
someone
very-
violates the ethical laws set forth in this, that you said you signed a statement, an ethical statement that you would comply with the laws, do you think that a DOE employee or other federal employee who violates these laws should step down from that position? That's a yes or no? If they violate the ethics laws set
I
forth
understand what
in
you're
the-
trying to do
Well,
here.
I'm not- I'm
just
asking you a
let-
specific
no, but
question. Okay,
you
so
have-
you're not gonna answer the
You
question.
have made a number of allegations that I
I've
feel
put
against
it's-
me
I mean,
personally.
this is
that
my
I-
time, Mr.
I know,
Mr. Chairman.
but you've made these out there, and I feel it is
Let me just
important to
let me just tell
respond.
you, this is what you did not answer the yes or no question. You obviously believe that it's okay to violate the ethics rules.
Of
as
course,
you've
I do
done.
not believe it's
But let's
okay to
just say-
violate ethics laws, nor does anyone else in the
Right,
Department
so
of Energy.
this
I don't know, man. How? Oh, I wish she would have answered. I know. It did go a little further, Nana Ape. But she, of course, didn't admit to doing anything illegal. Even though we all of you guys, I'm sure in the chat right now, are well aware of what the legal situation with Congress is and what they can do with their stocks. I know you guys all know it. That all has to be disclosed ahead of time. And you can't just make a mistake. That's still perjury, right? But Donk says the swamp. Yeah, buddy. That's what it is. Nana Ape, I'll put a link down in the description if you want to watch the whole thing. I was going to actually touch on it in a video, but I figured I'd bring it up tonight anyways. Andrew says, episodes 5 and 6 were amazing. Okay, yeah, don't spoil it for me. I was planning on watching it last night, actually. I just ran out of time. KD Sweaty, do you think it's all just a dog and pony show? Someone said that the other night in the chat. They said, why do you bother listening, to what's going on in Congress? I do think it's important that we keep on top of these politicians because this is affecting policy, right? They are purposely putting these policies into place and benefiting and reaping the rewards of knowing the information ahead of time. Just like I saw someone did earlier today. That who was it? Cisco was buying someone out, and they turned like a $9,000 position into $45 million or something crazy. Insider trading, right? I mean, that's basically what this is. Now, you or I would go to prison if we did that, but somehow these people have no accountability. No one is holding their feet to the fire. I mean, she's there laughing, twiddling her pen around, saying, "I know what you're trying to do here." I just want a fucking yes or no answer. The fact, Nana Ape, that we had to wait that long to get a yes or no, she wasn't asking a tough question, right? KD Sway says 100% of it. Majority all crooked. I agree, man. I think there are just a few senators and Congress people out there who are worth their weight in salt, and the rest of them are absolute garbage. I mean, when people talk about tearing down the system out there, and, I hear a lot of Gen Zers saying tear it down, the system's okay. It is the people who are manipulating the system that are the problem. Again, the documents are fine. We made the proper amendments to them over time to make them just a little better, or much better than they were. But yeah, the documents are okay. There's nothing wrong with the documents. It is the people who are supposed to be upholding documents who are not, whether it's the Border Patrol agents or the people at the SEC who are supposed to be doing oversight on the markets, or it's your Secretary of Energy buying Proterra stock before she knows she's going to have a policy enforced and promoting it. I mean, it's nuts. And we know that politicians do this all the time. Like Uric said, I would love to have a real-time, ticker showing what people are buying and selling as far as Congress goes, right? English Jim says, no offense. all your politicians. Oh yeah, of course, English Jim. You're not taking offense to me. I don't like either side of the aisle. I think 95% of everyone in DC is crooked. Maybe 97%. Yeah, I'm not fooled by the whole Republican Democrat thing. Republicans, in my opinion, most of them are just as bad right now, especially the war pigs who are screaming for more missiles to Ukraine when they're down like 80% of their total forces. And rumor has it that they just destroyed a German 2 Leopard tank, and inside was a crew of German soldiers, not mercenaries, soldiers from Germany. Now, that's from Russian-sponsored media, so, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's true or not, but if they find out that there's actually NATO forces on the ground right now, in some of these areas in the Donbass, that is not good. Russia's not going to take that lightly. Your wife's boyfriend says both parties need to be replaced. I agree, man. Yeah, 100%. I think that Chuck Schumer is just as rotten as Mitch McConnell, if not more. I think that Lindsey Graham, all of these fucking guys are just war pigs and looking for money. And who is the biggest donor? Who is shelling out cash? It doesn't matter what side of the aisle they're on. The fact that Zelensky comes to Congress, and not this time, because they didn't let him speak, right? But the time before he came to Congress, when have you ever seen 100% of the House of Congress stand up and applaud for something? When? When have you ever seen that besides for war? It's the only time you'll see it. So if they're all agreeing on something, it ain't good for us. It can't be. It can't be. There's no possible way. King Louis says Trump is anti-war. Yeah. But he's not in government right now, so I can't count him, right? I can't count him. Mike says 44 likes. Church. Every time you say that, Mike, I think of Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad. It's not Aaron Paul that says it though. It's Skinny Pete or one of his buddies there. Church, yo. English Jim says war makes money. Yep. That's what we're dealing with right now. Jenna, how you doing tonight? Jenna is in the house. Jenna says, hey, friends. Hi, Mass. I saw someone did 22,000 turned into... That's what I saw. Yeah. It was, Jenna, it was from... Oh, I just said it. Cisco Systems. Bought out some, I think, SPAC. Yeah. Jennifer, how you doing tonight? Jennifer says, our system is ripe for corruption, government shutdown. But you could, again, another thing, right? Like, how is it that doesn't fall under Congress? So the government will shut down, but according to the Pentagon, the funding will continue. How? How is that possible? Dips, how you doing tonight? What's going on, brother? Good to see you. Nano Ape says, oh, I don't manage my portfolio. LMAO. Most of them are inside traders, right? Dominic says, we are the people that need to start holding them accountable, but many have chose to give up our rights, leaving us powerless. Yeah. Yeah, man. And, no matter what happens with this whole YouTube thing, I'm going to still come out and do live streams and talk with you guys, no matter what's going on in the market or any day, because this is really a fight for more than just the stock market and AMC. This is so much bigger than just those two things. I mean, that's a big part of it, right? And a big part of my channel and a big part of, why I started this whole thing. But it's just become blatantly apparent to me in the last 2.5 years as I've really opened my eyes up to the policy making and what's going on in the swamp. Like, this is a fight that is worth taking up. And until they shut me down, I'm going to keep coming out here. Again, thankfully, I don't have a huge, gigantic platform where, people are throwing essays, allegations at me. And like, man, I don't know. Imagine building yourself up to, say, 100,000 subscribers and you have like legit money coming in. And then all of a sudden, one day, someone just wants to, start a witch hunt with you, and next thing you know, you're demonetized. I mean, the system's broken. Jennifer says the U.S. government exists to do wars. That's it. That's it. That's it. They're the. It used to be the Democrats. The it's supposed to be like the liberals were against war. They're some of the biggest cheerleaders out there. AOC and Jamal Bowman and Ro Khanna, the progressives. And then you got the old stale meat from the Republican Party, Mitt Romney, Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell. God. And then you got this guy Fetterman coming in who can't even dress up to go to work. Like, what are we doing? We're so lucky we haven't had anyone try to attack us yet. You know how bad we get our asses kicked right now if one of these world powers try to fight us? We would get absolutely tuned up. Again, for the last 40 years, we've had guys in slippers and sandals and straw hats with rusty guns beating the shit out of us. We've ran from like the last 3 or 4 wars we've been in. You would actually go up against the actual military power like Russia, who has the capability of producing massive amounts of shells and missiles and tanks and everything else. And they have all the natural resources that, they can possibly need. It would be a smoke show. The only way the United States would win any type of war is if the actual people rose up. The military right now is a fraction of what it used to be. It's a shell of its former self. It certainly ain't the guys who stormed the beaches on Normandy. That's for damn sure. Not even close. And listen, I give respect to everyone that's military out there. If you have military family, same with Border Patrol, same with police. Like, I appreciate everything that, those people do to keep us safe. But, did they tell Joseph Mengele at Nuremberg that it was, he was just following orders? It was okay? No. They hung his ass. Jennifer, did he really say that? Did he really say he would wear a suit if we keep funding the Ukrainian war? Like, this is the kind of dumb shit we're dealing with. So we got a mentally disabled brother in Congress who dresses like a slob and reads off of a phone, holding us hostage so he doesn't come to work in his pajamas to continue to fund Ukraine. Okay. That's where we're at as a country, folks. Jennifer says, yeah, but the military. Yeah, I feel bad for the guys in the military. Look, I heard a story just yesterday. Some guy was talking about how, oh, shit, I wish I remember who it was from, but there was a guy who was in the armed forces. He was young, under 25. He went into the military. He refused to take the jab. Then they forced it on him. He got myocarditis because of the jab. And now the military is saying they're not going to help him with any of his medical bills to fight the myocarditis after they made him take the jab to keep his job. That's the people we're dealing with right now. Hey, yo, what's going on? Vin Cool, good to see you, man. Casey says we will lose. 100%, Casey. 100%. I mean, that's terrible. Yeah. Jennifer, you know how many injured right now in Ukraine? They said that 8 out of 10 so far of the soldiers who were brought up to the front since the invasion, 8 out of 10 have either been killed, wounded, or captured. So there's 2 out of 10 soldiers who are left. They said that they're saying that the injuries are horrible. Horrible, right? All kinds of missing limbs. I mean, you just destroyed. Look, if you're single and you got a little bit of dough, when this war is over, go to Ukraine, man. They're going to have a need for men in Ukraine. How many, like 6 to 10 million people have fled the country so far? They just killed off, 90% or 80% of the people males between 25 and 45 in the country have either been maimed, killed, or captured. And Zelensky's in here having business meetings with BlackRock. Like, they're talking about the reconstruction. Someone asked me the other day, they said, why doesn't Putin just roll right in and storm Ukraine and blast everything to smithereens? If he has the capabilities to do all that, why doesn't he just do it? I don't understand. Someone said Colonel Douglas McGregor, who's the best mainer, right? Someone said, now, the reason why Putin doesn't want to do that is because they are planning on the Donbass and Crimea staying either autonomous regions or a part of Russia or somewhere under the Russian flag. They don't want to destroy Ukraine and have a new Afghanistan or Iraq where you have a bunch of Nazi insurgents sniping you from bell towers and McDonald's parking lots, right? So they don't want to have to go in and try to fix up a country they just blew to pieces and be killed in the process of doing that, like we saw happen to us for 20 years in Iraq, right? They don't want, Putin doesn't need that. He doesn't want that headache. He's got to get along with these people at some point. He knows that they're going to come to the negotiating table because clearly now we are not going to get, he's not going to be overthrown and Russia isn't going to lose the war. If anything, Ukraine's already lost the war. So at this point now, he's got to live with these people right next door to him for the foreseeable future. If he goes in and breaks everything, he's got to clean it up, right? You saw what we did to Iraq. We had shock and awe, and then we were there for 20 years. Halliburton with a $2 trillion contract. Ayo says Ukraine is a meat grinder. Horrid. Z should be held for war crimes for continuing this. It's sad. I hear you, bro. It really is sad. It's sad to see these politicians in D.C., I'm talking about Lindsey Graham in particular, because I've heard him say it multiple times, over and over again. He said they will fight till the last Ukrainian. Like, that is such a sorry son of a bitch thing to say. Like, think about that. Where is your moral compass? FL6 Stringer says, Putin is not trying to conquer Ukraine. He's trying to liberate countrymen and protect their borders from NATO. Yes, sir. Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, FS Stringer. Yeah, he's not trying to destroy Ukraine, right? Notice he hasn't really pushed anything. He hasn't pushed. They have their line set up right now. They have the entire Donbass captured and Crimea, right? And you don't think they could have made a push by now? We went into the summer of offense back in April, right? It was, we're ramping up for the offensive. Here we are. Summer's over, and they've caught a couple small towns against what? 1,200 kilometer line. Time to get to the table and start talking. Enough people have died. That's why when Caitlin Collins had that town hall with Trump the other night, or a while back, and she said, who do you want to win? What kind of question is that? Like, these people are sick. The mainstream media is sick, and the government that funds them is also sick. I mean, look what they're doing to Russell Brand right now. You got the UK government member of parliament calling up Rumble and YouTube and telling them to take down people because they don't agree with their viewpoints. English Jim, this should piss you off. I'm sure you're a patriot. Jim says, let's be honest, Joe B ain't fit for office. All he thinks of is ice creams and sniffing kids' hair. Yeah, unfortunately. Domrek says, Ukraine is the place. Yeah, man. U.S. tax money into dirty money. Yep. I mean, there's no... How many people are calling up their congressperson right now and telling them, please continue to fund Ukraine? How many constituents you think have actually picked up a phone and called their congresswoman or man, their representative, and said, please do whatever you have to do to continue to fund Ukraine. How many do you think? 81 million? I'm going to go with 81 million. That seems to me like a nice round number. Nana says, love Russell. Yeah, man, I'm trying to... By the way, I'm starting on Monday. I'm going to be on Rumble, too. I've decided to go that route. Not that I'll be totally done with YouTube, but I'm definitely switching my platform over to Rumble. There's just way more freedom there. There's nothing on YouTube. If anything I put up that's controversial, they either demonetize, they take it down, they slap it with something. There's just no reason for me really to continue to promote YouTube. I think I'll be better off going to Rumble. I'll still be uploading some content here, but like I can't even get the fucking live streams monetized because of what we're talking about. So it's like, what's the point? You know, people like say, oh, add a commercial in. For what? They're not going to give me the commercial anyways. Ayo says, I like Russell too, but he admitted drug and sex addict, so let's see how it pans out. Yeah, let's see. Yeah. Look, every guy's due his day in court, right? If these allegations are true, again, I said this the other night, my red flags went up when I saw that that all of the victims went to the media before they went to the police, man. That is a big red flag for me. If truly something like that happened on a large scale, I don't know, I just feel like the first place you would go would be the police, even just to cover your own ass. Wouldn't you think, like, maybe I should go report this before I go and tell Variety Mag or Hollywood Reporter, right? Just to cover your own ass? Wouldn't you at least make up some allegations and give them to the cops before you do the media tour, right? Yeah, Maynard. Yeah, exactly. If there's Ukraine in there or anything about the war, or if they think you're pushing Russian talking points, forget it. Forget it. The thing that really confuses me is who is watching my commentary or our live streams, actually taking the time to look into it to see what we're talking about. I mean, there's got to be a million YouTube channels out there. How are they possibly finding the time to go in and actually physically do this stuff? I don't know. KD Sweaty says, mostly protecting boys in trouble. By the way, tell me if you guys, did anyone see Merrick Garland this week testifying? What is up with that guy? He seems either absolutely clueless or I don't know. You tell me. You tell me what this is supposed to be. Let me put this up.
Peter Navarro was indicted for contempt of Congress. Aren't you, in fact, in contempt of Congress when you give us this answer? This is an answer that's appropriate at a press conference. It's not an answer that's appropriate when we are asking questions. We are the committee that is responsible for your creation, for your existence of your department. You cannot continue to give us these answers. Aren't you, in fact, in contempt of Congress when you refuse to answer?
Congressman, I have the greatest respect for Congress. I also have the greatest respect for the Constitution and laws of the United States. The protection of pending investigations and ongoing investigations, as I briefly discussed in another dialogue a few moments ago, goes back to the separation of powers, which gives to the executive branch the sole authority to conduct prosecutions. It's a requirement of due process and respect for those who are under investigation, the protection of their civil rights.
Well, with all due respect to that, Iran-Contra was an ongoing investigation, and that didn't stop Congress from getting the answers. and you're getting in the way of our constitutional duty. You're signing the Constitution. I'm going to cite it. It's our constitutional duty to do oversight. Now, in that video, that was your answer to a question to me 2 years ago, when I said how many agents or assets of the government were present on January 5th and January 6th and agitating in the crowd to go into the Capitol, and how many went into the Capitol. Can you answer that now?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Oh, last time, you don't know how many there were, or there were none?
I don't know the answer to either of those questions. If there were any, I don't know how many. I don't know whether there are any.
I think you may have just perjured yourself that you don't know that there were any. You want to say that again, that you don't know that there were any?
I have no personal knowledge of this matter. I think what I said the last time.
You've had 2 years to find out. And the day, by the way, that was in reference to Ray Epps, and yesterday you indicted him. Isn't that a wonderful coincidence? On a misdemeanor. Meanwhile, you're sending grandmas to prison. You're putting people away for 20 years for merely filming. Some people weren't even there yet. You've got the guy on video who's saying go into the Capitol. He's directing people to the Capitol before the speech ends. He's at the site of the first breach. You've got all the goods on him, 10 videos, and it's an indictment for a misdemeanor? The American public isn't buying it. I yield the balance of my time to Chairman Jordan.
May I answer the question?
No. Shut the fuck up. It's almost like Citadel getting sued the day Dumb Money releases, right? Almost. Almost the same. Almost the same. Timing was impeccable, right? You drop Dumb Money, and you also drop a $7 million lawsuit on the company who's being exposed in the film for doing exactly what we said they were doing. Jordan Smile says Pocus. Maynard says liar. PB trial showed at least. Oh no, there were so many they can't. They had to do they had an accounting error because there were so many CIs. You guys didn't see this article? I thought I put it in my last video. I'm gonna put this up, see if you guys can see it. Hopefully, I can get it to pop. This is from the Post. Yeah, it's from Thursday. No, it's from today. No, I'm sorry. It's from the 19th. My bad. Miranda Devine. The FBI so many paid informants at the Capitol on January 6, 2021, that it lost track of the number and had to perform a later audit. Hopefully you can see what I'm reading here. Can you guys see what I have up right now? The article? I can't tell. All right. What the fuck? Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get this article. I'm hoping you guys can still see me and hear me right now. I'm going to pull up this out and read it. Hope it does volume. The FBI, according to this article, again, this is from the 19th. It is from New York Post. Hold on, let me see if it's up here. Everything's just paused. Oh, it says we're back on. I can't tell if we're live or not. I don't know what the fuck's going on with this. What is going on, man?